Hello, everybody. My name is Craig Walker. I'm the CEO of Dialpad, one of the co-founders. And today we're going to talk about our 12 months of AI blitz. But before we do that, I did want to start with one stat, which is that 90% of CIOs agree that AI tools can significantly improve their role and employees' experience. So that's a massive number. We commissioned this survey with Google Cloud, with Constellation Research. We surveyed over 1,000 CIOs, but a 90% response of this is going to improve our business is radically higher than what you would have seen in a digital transformation survey earlier. What this tells you is you do not have the opportunity to wait. You can't be a CIO and let this opportunity pass you by. Interestingly enough, though, 84%, almost the same amount, also don't really know what they're doing. They're worried about it. They don't know. They're confused by the opportunities, they're confused by the tools and the apps, and they're worried about how it's going to impact their employees. So you have this understanding that you need to do AI, that you need to make it urgently important for your business, with a lot of confusion on the flip side. So what would be the ideal business AI? We spent a lot of time thinking about this. So number one, it has to be safe. It has to be safe. It's not going to be disruptive. You're not going to put your business at risk by using it. That just goes without saying. Number two, it has to be smart. It needs to understand your business. It needs to be able to help your business perform better. It needs to be fast. The faster you can get a response, the faster the AI can help. You can get to even real-time, in-the-moment improvements using a really highly tuned engine that's going to give you real-time results. And lastly, it should be easy. Every business in the world is not going to be able to go build their own AI team and their own AI machine. They want to be able to use tools that are going to provide value straight away. And those are the four that I see as the most important. You may be asking, what is Dialpad? Why am I here? Why am I listening to this? So let me tell you a little bit about us. We are an AI-powered customer intelligence platform. We have this entire collaboration stack for every business, from everything from meetings to messaging to voice to contact center to sales centers, with real-time AI purpose-built through the heart of that entire stack. So that gives us the ability to do a lot of things that we'll get into in the future. We have a long history with Google and Google Cloud. We started the company back in 2010, 2011, and we were one of the first GCP customers ever from the outside of Google. Number two, we've used App Engine since day one. It's given us a competitive advantage to be able to move really, really quickly. And GCP gives us this massive AI capacity, instant deployment, infinite scale. And then lastly, and one of the great things about this deep partnership, is if you're a GCP customer, if you have a commitment to buy GCP, every dollar you spend on Dialpad actually counts as a dollar spent on GCP. So a little bit of our history. In 2005, I co-founded a company called Grand Central, was leading, pretty pioneering voice over IP company, was a consumer product company. And then we got acquired by Google in 2007. That became Google Voice, built it out to tens of millions of users, was actually a really great time to be inside of Google. It was a lot of fun. But in 2010, we realized there was a better opportunity than just on the consumer side. And what we really wanted to do was disrupt enterprise conversations, enterprise collaboration, and how can we make every business better by giving them better tools. So I left Google Voice, went to Google Ventures as their first EIR. My co-founders came and joined me. They were the engineers that built Google Voice, so they had this scale capability. They understood the Google architecture really, really well. And we launched our first product in 2012, which was our first conferencing product. We called it Uber Conference at the time. And we launched it at TechCrunch Disrupt. And fast forward, we win TechCrunch Disrupt. So we kind of felt that we were on our way, that business collaboration didn't have to be difficult. And it is this massive opportunity to disrupt this big, big, big market. But something changed along the way. In 2018, I was introduced to this company, TalkIQ. And their CEO, Dan O'Connell, and their co-founder and CTO, Jim Palmer, came in and gave me a demo. And what their demo was in real time on a business call, being able to show on a screen what questions that a seller should ask and check it off in real time as those things actually happened, which was mind-blowing. It was like literally, we were building the world's best collaboration platform and communication platform, and then all of a sudden you realize if you can understand what's happening in those conversations in real time, it's going to be an absolute game changer. So the beauty of being a startup, the beauty of being the CEO of a startup, is you can make decisions really quickly. So I decided pretty much after that meeting that it was time, like, we should partner with TalkIQ, and then ultimately we decided to acquire them. And it was a pretty big bet. You know, for a startup, spending $50 million on another startup that doesn't have a whole lot of revenue and all you want is this insane tech, it was a big bet, but it really got us into the real-time AI space 6 years ago, over 6 years ago now. And so really gave us a head start against, you know, now everyone's trying to rush into it, but now we have this foundation, this incredible team that we brought on, and we've obviously invested a lot in it since then. So from that point on, we're all in on AI. So we acquired TalkIQ, we launched it in our products, we've pretty much built it through our entire stack. So no matter how you use any of our tools, you get the same exact AI. We launched the next year, right after that acquisition, the first real-time ASR, so automated speech recognition. We launched that transcription. You would be on a call, and it would understand what's happening on every single call from that point forward. The cool thing about it is we analyze every participant to every conversation independently. So we're able to do things of just being able to isolate on what is a customer saying, or what is a prospect saying, or what is your agent or seller saying. In 2023, though, and the point of this talk is our 12 months of AI. And that's when we really kicked off this challenge to our team of launching a new product every single quarter, or every single month. The other thing we did in 2023 is we launched Dialpad GPT, which is our own generative AI, large language model, built on our own data, built on all the conversations that we have been analyzing for the prior 6 years, which gives us some really great advantages going forward. So what are the products we offer? We have an AI voice product, which is internal and external collaboration. We have an AI sales center product that will make every sales team more productive, help new sellers ramp faster, help them close more deals. And then lastly, we have an AI contact center company or business. Similarly, more on the inbound side because it's a support function, but real-time coaching, real-time sentiment analysis, real-time ability to answer questions. So that puts us in kind of a really unique position. So we compete on the collaboration side with companies like Zoom, RingCentral, Microsoft Teams. We compete on the customer engagement side with traditional contact center providers like Five9, Nice and Contact, Genesys, and TalkDesk. And then lastly, on the sales intelligence side, we compete with folks like Chorus and Gong. But the way these three Venn diagrams intersect, we're sitting right in the middle there with one single beautiful unified app that provides real-time AI to all three of those markets or all three of those use cases in real time. So 2023 kicked off. We had this great AI team. Generative AI was becoming a really big topic. Everyone was talking about their AI solution. And I really wanted to challenge our team and say, look, we've been doing this for the last 5 years at this point. We have all this training data. We have this one beautiful unified app with AI across it. Let's make a goal of launching a new feature every single month to prove, one, to ourselves that these are going to be great features and we can get them in the hands of early adopters and get some real feedback. And then number two is to really differentiate ourselves from the competition who is out there changing their websites and putting out press releases that they have AI, but we really want to prove that we did, not just put out a bunch of fluff. So the way this comes out is these 12 features and products were launched during the year of 2023. And it was a real big challenge. Legitimately, it's not fair to say to an engineering organization that you are going to launch a new feature every single month right? And these are big features. These aren't little add-ons. These are big features. But it was awesome to see them rise to the challenge. And I'll go through these. So when January came around, we said, okay, let's identify the call purpose of every single call, right? So that allows you to, particularly in a support organization, you're not relying on your support agent to, at the end of a conversation, to go select what it was about, right? Because the problem that you have when you rely on an agent to go do that, generally they will pick the first one on the list and move on. And we've done experiments and talked to customers even here, and they complain about the same thing. Without AI deciding what was the purpose of that call, it's totally, it's pretty scattershot inaccurate of what the agent will select. And we've changed the list, and then all of a sudden the next thing that was at the top of the list becomes the most important topic. So clearly it's not radically accurate. And the other thing is, each company can identify their own purposes. So this isn't just one generic list of purposes. This is, hey, every business is different, our support needs are different, and the purpose of a call is going to be different. It's 100% accurate. So every single, not in 100% of every single conversation. That's the beauty. There's no way to not get the purpose. So the other cool thing is we'll push a report to the company, to the supervisor, to the executives of why are there people calling in? What are the actual topics that are causing 80% of your use cases in support? By the way, you can take that to go fix those problems downstream so they don't become support issues going forward. So it really helps you run a better business. We launched real-time assist cards. So real-time assist cards is, and particularly in sales and support, but let's talk about a sales use case. As you're on a call in real time, talking to a prospect, pitching whatever service or product you're pitching, it will listen to the call, and if there's an objection, if there's a competitor mention, if there's a question that you don't know the answer to, you can program it to pop up a card to your seller or to your support agent of what the answer is. And this works really well in a competitive environment when you're on a sales call, pitching a product, and someone says, how are you different from competitor X, Y, or Z, right? The sellers, hopefully we trained them really well. Hopefully they know the answer of how we're different against every single competitor in the world, but likely they may not be. And so being able to have that reinforcement, be able to have that answer come right to you in real time is great. And by the way, this is entirely customizable, again, by each individual company or each individual customer of Dialpads. So one of the benefits of owning our own AI is we can customize for your specific business what you want those real-time assist cards to be. So it's not generic. This is the beauty of having it all ourselves. We then launched AI CSAT. And every single customer success or customer support organization measures CSAT, or they should be measuring CSAT, but they virtually all do. And that is trying to determine what is the satisfaction level of my customers who come to my support line and have a problem. And hopefully, hopefully there's things you can do to make your customers happier. You have enough agents, it's a short wait time, you've trained them really well, and you can resolve the issue. But sometimes that's not the case. And so being able to understand that sentiment on every single conversation is important. So without it, when it's just manual, you are dependent on sending out a survey or asking the customer to stay on the line at the end of the call to answer some questions. And the problem with those is you get a 10, maybe a 20% response rate, but the respondents are the super happy people and the super pissed off people. And you don't get to know what's happening in that middle 80, 90%. So being able to get 100% of that on every single conversation, again, it just shows you what's really happening. And you don't have to do anything extra. It just happens by using the tool. We then launched AI recaps. And AI recaps will listen to an entire conversation, whether it's on a meeting, whether it's on a phone call, whether it's over a digital channel, and it'll summarize that entire experience into a really nice recap. of what happened on that conversation. It'll share it with the people who were, or the person who was the organizer of a call, or was the agent or the seller, and then they could share it as well. But that AI recap is a massive time saving. You can then go back, find any conversation, copy it, share it, do whatever you want. And it also shows the action items that came out of every conversation. So action items are really, really important, because oftentimes you end a meeting and you go into another meeting and you don't take the time to write down your notes or what should I do next. Being able to have that just in your back pocket without having to do anything, so when you do talk to that person again, you have it right there as to what you agreed to the last time, is super valuable. AI scorecards. This is a series of yes or no questions that the AI can answer. So again, on the contact center side, primarily, virtually every agent is scored, or every support center is set up to be able to determine, did the agent introduce themselves properly? Did they show empathy? Did they ask for the account number? Did they properly resolve the issue? On the way out, did they say, is there anything else I can help you with before we wrap up this conversation? Without AI doing that, you literally have to have a support center supervisor randomly listen to phone calls, and it takes just as long to listen to the calls it took to make the call, and check a scorecard manually. So you only, even if you staff that function really well, you're only going to get 3 to 5% of those interactions listened to. So this now, again, does this automatically, 100% of the calls, and then it creates a report for teams, for the supervisor of, okay, here's your team, here are the people who have really high scorecard scores, and here are the ones who have real low ones. And you know where to coach, and you know where to spend your time making your team better. Speaking of coaching, we then launched our AI Coaching Hub. So this is a single location for a sales and support supervisor to be able to go and see exactly how my team's doing. Pick the date range, pick the metrics you want to sort by. It'll show examples of good interactions. It'll show examples of bad interactions. It'll identify weaknesses of where I need to go make certain people better. We'll push that report to the leader and to the organization so they can see it. They don't need to come in and actually hunt for it. It'll just appear in their inbox. And for users themselves, we believe that users want to, support agents and sellers, they want to get better. And it shouldn't be dependent just on how good their frontline manager is to coach them to get better. They should be able to go into the coaching center themselves and see what they've done wrong, or see what they did right, and try to get better on their own, which is great. On the sales side, we launched AI playbooks. And what an AI playbook does, and this is very similar to that original demo that I saw from TalkIQ back in 2018, but it shows on the screen in the Dialpad app, what is the pitch I'm supposed to be making as a seller? What is the ask? What is the outcome or the answers to that? And then if it turns into a actual full-blown opportunity, I'm going to get an opportunity to go qualify this lead, did I do it right? And virtually every sales organization uses some form of lead qualification. There's all these acronyms like BANT and SPICed and CHAMP and MEDIC, and they all kind of count for, these are the questions we want you to ask every single lead, see if it's a sales qualified lead, because they got these questions answered right. So BANT, for example, is their budget? Does the person I'm talking to have the authority to make the decision, or who does? Please answer that. What is the need? Why do you need this? Why are you looking for a new solution? And what is the timing? So BANT, B-A-N-T. The cool thing is it will check off in real time as those questions are asked, and it'll reinforce and remind the seller to ask those questions. The other thing it'll do is it'll summarize the answer and log it right into the app itself. And it'll post it into the CRM. It'll store it there. So if you have reps who are turning over, or let's say a rep gets promoted and a new guy comes in and takes his territory, you have that qualification right there. You don't need to requalify. You can keep going on to the next thing. Then in August, we launched our own large language model, Dialpad GPT. We put our team of 60 plus AI experts on building our own large language model built on our 6 billion minutes of long-form business conversations. That's really, really important. That allows us to do a lot of things in a very unique manner. And that model is built entirely just on these types of conversations. So it should be faster because it's on our machines and it's a smaller model. It should be cheaper because it's on our machines and it's a smaller model. It should be smarter because it only does business conversations. It's a very small model, but it's very precise. And it should be safer. Your data never leaves Dialpad. It lives in GCP. That's where everything else that Dialpad uses lives. It doesn't go out to a third party. So it's cheaper, safer, faster, smarter. When you think about how much training data we have for this team of experts to go improve those models, we have over 6 billion minutes. The nice thing is we started this in 2018. So we have these 6 billion minutes, and as you can see by the slope, that increases year over year. So the more training data, the more accurate the model. And we can keep refining that model 24/7, 365 days a year to make it better, smarter, faster as well. Yeah, and that is one of the largest conversational data sets in the world. So that's 12,000 years worth of training. That's a lot of training. The good thing is next year it's going to be even more. So you have this incredible amount of training data. We then launched our AI PII redaction. PII is personally identifiable information. A lot of support organizations need that information to be able to identify a customer, to be able to identify a problem, to be able to charge, give me your credit card information over the phone, I will sell you this product. But you don't want that PII living in this transcript. You don't want it living in this recap. You want it scrubbed. So we use our AI to go back through all of our transcripts, all of our recaps, and scrub and anonymize that data. Again, customizable for every business. So some businesses may need the address. They may want the phone number, what have you. They can customize it, and the AI will take care of it. We then launched our custom playbooks. So we talked about BANT and Spiced and all these templates of traditional sales qualifications. But a lot of times sales leaders want their own. They want to put a wrinkle in it. They want to do something different. And we give them the ability now to go customize what those playbooks are. So yeah, there's our own team internally is kind of like alpha test patient zero. First piece of feedback we got is I want to create my own questions. So we were able to launch that. The other cool thing is then you can get into applications and use cases outside of just traditional sales qualification. You can treat it as an agenda tracker. It's like, here's what I want to handle on this conversation. And when that conversation happens, it will summarize the answer to every one of those. We moved the playbooks into our meetings, so into Dialpad meeting product. You think about a sales process, step one is usually an outbound phone call trying to set up a meeting. Step two is setting up the meeting and having a sales engineer and maybe like more people from the customer on the call. So there's a lot of parties there, and you want to have that exact same functionality of the playbooks, checking it off in real time, summarizing the answer, loading it all back into the CRM, happen on meetings as well as just other conversations. So we launched that. And then finally, in December of last year, we launched our AI Agent Assist. And what this does, this will search our company's entire public and private knowledge base for the right answers. It uses our own proprietary semantic search capabilities to go find the right answers to any question. And it, obviously, if we're getting the right answers, we're resolving issues quicker, you're going to raise your CSAT, you're going to have happier customers, lower churn, more expansion, all good things for your business. So that was the sprint of last year. And it was, again, it was not, look, we're going to launch these generally available one at a time, but it was we were going to launch these as EAPs, early adopter program. get them in the hands of customers and see how the customers like them. See if it's useful, tweak them, and then as we built out that Dialpad GPT large language model and added a ton of capacity to that, we would then go forward and make them generally available. So how do we use Google? There's a Google conference. How are we leveraging what they do to make us better? So we have a deep partnership with Google, obviously. We came from Google Ventures. Rich Miner, the co-founder of Android, is on our board of directors and has been for over a decade. And through that partnership, we do use Google Cloud Vertex, where they will launch and develop and create new features that we can add to our products and our solutions. That's great. They're a much bigger company than us. We're going to leverage them as they innovate, and we innovate. Another example is multi-language support for international customers. Right? Google's ahead on that. That's great. We're going to use that and leverage that for our large international businesses, large customers that need these same solutions around the globe. It allows for continuous innovation. I mean, we're innovating pretty darn quickly on our own, but obviously they're a big company that we want to partner with. And then they are our sole AI partner in developing new features that we can't do in-house. So this partnership has been great. Obviously, really deep relationships with them. But you may be saying, that sounds great, but is it real? Do customers care? Does it actually have these benefits that you talk about? Because the problem with AI these days is there is a lot of hype. There's a lot of people talk about all the things they could and would do, but it's really hard to separate the wheat from the chaff and figure out what is real and what isn't. So in this case, here's a great quote from Education First. They're the largest provider of student tours worldwide. They do second language courses, large provider of second language courses to students worldwide. And this, as you can see by the quote, our outbound calling has increased by 40%. Overall, Dialpad has made everything 1,000% easier. It made their sellers radically more efficient. And don't believe me, I got a video here that we can actually hear from Mike Montero.
Life without Dialpad and its AI features was a lot more chaotic and a lot more time consuming. It would take 15 minutes to set one person up for all the things they needed, and now it takes 15 seconds, if that. Hi, my name is Mike Montero. I work on the people operations team for EF Education First. Education First works with high school and middle school teachers to send them and their students on short-term trips abroad or domestic. Prior to using Dialpad, we were using an on-premise system that just had every feature siloed from each other, and we just struggled or spent a lot of time getting all the pieces to work, getting the information we need, getting agents set up. Just by looking at Dialpad, we can tell that our agents are being able to manage their own phones, plans, voicemail, everything on their own. Our sales trainers are able to find calls that they can actually use quickly to help better our agents and give them feedback. Dialpad Artificial Intelligence has helped us become more efficient and effective. Agents are spending less time figuring out where to get information from, so the calls are ending faster, customers are happier. We've noticed that our call times have dropped by 30%, and our outbound calling has increased by 40% since we made the switch to Dialpad. It's just overall 1,000% easier. I've loved working with the team at Dialpad. Give it a try. Let it prove itself to you why it can help and how it can help. And that will just open the door to endless possibilities with AI.
Yeah, pretty awesome quote there from Mike. 30% shorter handle time for support agents, 40% more outbound calls. That's real ROI that you could easily measure. We also have one from Randstad, the largest recruiting company in the world, with offices all around the world. AI coaching, AI assist, AI playbooks will forever change the way our employees will source, screen, and place candidates. Let's hear from them. Oh, sorry. Let's hear from them as well.
Randstad is a global leader in the HR industry. We have close to 50,000 employees across 700 locations in 39 countries. Prior to Dialpad, we had many solutions across the globe, and it was not very intuitive.
As an IT leader, I'm always focused on emerging the technological trends like AI. It's in a transformative time here at Randstad. We're bringing in exciting new technology to connect our recruiters and sellers from anywhere on the planet. And it's changing the way we recruit and use technology at every step.
So within Randstad, we use Dialpad AI Contact Center across the globe to connect recruiters and consultants and candidates. We strive to be equitable. So we strongly believe that the human touch would still be a very big part of making sure that a person finds the correct job for them. But we also think that tech is very much supporting what we do here.
What excites me the most about adopting next-gen tools like AI for our team is the transformative potential it brings to our operations. Features like AI coaching, AI assist, and AI playbooks will forever change the way our recruiters source, screen, and place candidates.
So bringing in Dialpad as technology also allowed us to leverage our Google Cloud committed spend. So we expect our consultants and recruiters to save at least 5 hours per week by integrating the essential tools like Salesforce and Google Workspace to Dialpad. From Belgium to Japan, the Netherlands to the US, we have a global network of recruiters that use Dialpad to source, vet, and connect candidates to the perfect roles.
AI is transforming every industry, and here at Randstad, we're excited about the promise of Dialpad AI for our business.
Awesome. So, yeah, it is. It's nice when you actually get to see these real multinational companies using your product across the globe and how it's actually helping them transform and improve how they run their business. And doing that, literally in a relatively short time from kicking off this 12 months of AI. So what's 2024? 2024, there's another challenge, of course, for this wonderful engineering team. And the challenge was, okay, we have all these features that we developed over the last 12 months, and now we're going to bundle them together, and we're going to launch them, make them generally available, running on our own large language model, and bring them out in a fully polished, hardened launch for all of our users. And so that was the challenge for this year. The second challenge that I gave to them was every single one of these features has to be a can't live without feature. It can't be one that's, it's kind of okay. It's got to be super, super compelling and add a ton of value to the users and to the business. So we're calling it Making AI Real in 2024. The very first thing that we did was Q1. We're going to do four launches this year. Q1, we launched AI Recaps for All. So we talked about and I'll go into a little more detail, but it's what we had launched previously, but with a lot more modifications and polishing and hardening. Number two, we're going to launch AI Sales Center V2. That will be with playbooks in our coaching center. I'm very excited about that. Q3, Contact Center V2. That's going to be with a generative AI chatbot and more AI scorecards tied into the same coaching center as well. And then finally, we're going to end the year with an AI-powered recruiting center. Very, very similar to sales, custom playbook type motion, but recruiting is unique in a lot of ways. Not one of the most important is obviously other people will step in and take over a process, or there's multiple people involved in the process, so tracking that's really important. So our AI recaps, exactly what I showed you before, but so that's conversation summaries and action items, but the polish that we put on it of now you can select, do I want a short summary, a long summary? Do I want a medium summary? It's up to you. Some people like a lot. Some people like a little. When we were fighting on the product, I liked the short one. Our head of product liked the long one. We decided to make it a choice for all of our users. Easy to share. At the end of every conversation, you can easily share that recap with the person you had the conversation with. Or at the end of a meeting, you have the ability to push that recap to all the participants of that meeting as well. It auto-logs to your CRM, so you don't need to go type your notes in. It's going to go put that recap into Salesforce or into wherever you're using. Also, it's a great recap, but sometimes you actually want to see the entire transcript. And we've been doing transcripts since 2018. One of the things I can tell you about transcripts is they're really painful to read. When you hear a conversation, it seems like it's a normal conversation, then you read it, it's horrible to read. There's all these ums and interruptions and repeated things. So we have an easy read transcript feature where we use generative AI to take the raw transcript clear out those filler words, and make a really easily readable, digestible, true transcript. And then as far as action items, if we notice in the action item there is an event talking about a calendar, like let's meet again next Tuesday, what have you, one click from the recap, we'll pull up your calendar, we'll have the parties in there, and we'll have the right date. So really, really a lot of polish on there. You can see some of it on here. Excited about that. And since this is a live product, here's some stats on what we've done with it so far. So in a typical day, we'll process about 3.6 billion tokens through our own large language model. Very scalable, a lot of capacity. Number two, 4.5 million prompts a day, 4.9 billion unique calls to that large language model. And since we launched this, and this only went live on March 14th, so where are we now, like early April? Add a couple of months of early adopters in there as well. We're at 100, by the end of this week, we'll be at 100 million AI recaps served to our users. That's real AI. That compares to competitors out there who said after their first 2 months they got to 1 million. We're 100 times that in a shorter amount of time. Our second quarter, it's going to be AI Sales Center. Really hard polished, that AI playbooks, tracking all those different questions, summarizing those answers, logging them into all the various CRMs with a really refined coaching hub, it'll give you really great insights into your prospecting. Who should we talk to? Where are we in each deal? And again, automatically logging it. So a sales rep won't have to go log it, which again, anytime you're counting on a human being to go log something properly or write notes properly, you're going to be disappointed. Q3, we're doing our AI contact center, which is the hallmark of that is our generative AI chatbot. That's going to have our AI CSAT, the agent assist, not just automated purpose of the call, but also outcome and summary. So purpose and outcome are two great things on the support side because you don't need the agent to go say it was resolved. The AI will understand this for us. And the automatic scorecard. So on 100% of the calls, you're going to get all those features. And then lastly, our AI recruiting center. If you think about the recruiting space and you think about basically every business has to hire people. Every business has to build a product or service that they then sell. Every business has to then support that product or service. All three of those functions happen for every single business. So by using this one unified tool, you'll be able to perform all those same functions with that real-time AI. And recruiting is one of the ones that I hold near and dear. I get on a lot of interviews. It drives me absolutely crazy when I go in there and I'm like, okay, I want to see what was asked and answered in the prior conversations and the prior interviews. Lots of times people don't go enter their interview notes. You'll see a thumbs up, move of strongly recommend, thumbs up, but it doesn't say why. And I don't know what you guys talked about. So now with AI recruiting, it's going to be, I'll go into my applicant tracking system, I'll see every prior interview and every question that was asked to that candidate and their answer will be listed there. It also gives you some really great coaching insights for your recruiting team because a recruiting team is like a sales team. They need to make a number of calls, they need to talk to another number of candidates, and just using this internally myself, at the end of an interview, being able to have my summary and my AI recaps and the answers to every one of my questions being logged into the applicant tracking system automatically saves me 30 minutes per interview. I mean, that's real time. And one of the reasons I dreaded interviews was all that post work that you had to do. So there was a great quote by Forbes. As of today, the only wrong way for leaders to use AI is to use none at all. I totally agree with that. Like we said at the beginning, every single CIO understands they need to do this. They know they have to figure out an AI solution. There is no wait and see. You can't just stay on-prem for a couple of years or maybe a decade later and decide whether or not the cloud makes sense for you. This is happening. And if you're not handling it, if you're not doing it for your business, your competitors are, and they're going to get an advantage over you. This is from my favorite TV show, The Bear, one of my favorite episodes. Every second counts, and truly in this case, every second does count. And with that, I say thank you. Appreciate it.